and you're asking to trust his deportation numbers when he's already shown a propensity to lie about other numbers.
Well, I'm asking you to trust the institutions reporting with the numbers and not what's coming out of Trump's mouth.
Sure,
because
but
the institutions under Trump are still reporting.
Well, are they? I think it's hard to trust after the jobs numbers came out and fired the one lady. I think it was the head of the whatever, it's not CDC, that's Customs Border Patrol. But the jobs department person, right? Or him trying to pressure and fire people who were part of the governor board for the Federal Reserve Board, or him like explicitly talking to all of his cabinet members, telling them what they need to say or do. Like for instance, this is an unfortunate thing, and I know this is a hyper-partisan issue, so it's hard to find any common ground, but like, if, let's say that the shooter, here's a big problem. Let's say that the shooter of Charlie Kirk, let's say that we find tomorrow, he did have another Discord account, it's a crazy Antifa leftist, insane account or whatever. Personally, I don't know if I could ever believe it now, maybe, but it's hard because here's what I know, and these are undeniable facts. The President of the United States and I think Kash Patel and other members of Congress, they all staked their position on the identity of the shooter and his ideology before they knew anything about it. So why would I trust these same people who can't even admit the results of the 2020 election to come out and release information showing that they were wrong about something? Even if all of the institutions, even if they were still all perfectly functioning, which I think there's good cause now, especially with Kash Patel basically admitting that they fired people who were involved in like the Mar-a-Lago raid, or they fired FBI members who weren't loyal to Trump, whatever the fuck that means. Like even the statements they've made have almost, I wouldn't say irreparably damaged, but around certain issues, like I just don't know if I could take it seriously, because would they really contradict themselves? Like, do you feel like Trump would release something and say, I'm wrong, I made a mistake? I don't even know if he's ever uttered those words in his entire life.
Well, no, I don't believe that Trump would, but his administration, while it's less than the first term, has kind of gone against him when it comes to certain things.
Can you name one thing and one person?
Bondi saying that she would release the Epstein files, and
I feel like that's the worst example, because I feel like she initially thought that they maybe had some things there because she's kind of retarded. I don't know why. But then Trump obviously now, I think we have a lot of information now saying that the FBI was marking stuff where Trump's name might have come up, and now we also have it not being released, and now all of them are defending the idea of not releasing anything more about it. So much so that like Mike Johnson is like not seating an elected person, in the House for almost a month now, I think. So it seems like they are all following him, right? Tell me, okay, so Pam Bondi said, in the Southern District of New York, we found a whole bunch of boxes of stuff in the fucking burn bags or whatever the fuck else. The burn bags might have been some bombs, I don't know. But we found a bunch of stuff, and then we're gonna release it. And then I'm hearing from, people in the FBI and everything that they was showing stuff that involved Trump, and they, were marking stuff for him. And now we're hearing, I think she just said today or yesterday, actually there wasn't a client list. What am I supposed to believe on that? I'm just like an impartial observer.
I would say you go with the FBI on that one, generally.
So a big issue that I have with the FBI is, was this Bongino or Kash Patel, or might have been both? At least one of these guys, Bongino, I think is the deputy FBI director, right? Or I remember Kash Patel was literally on a podcast with, I don't know if this is a Joe Rogan one or a cool one, but he's literally saying like, I've got friends in the CIA, and they told me that they've seen all the Epstein stuff, and they know all the information, and everybody knows it's there. He said that. So now, and it was really awkward because it reminded me of fucking Hassan on Jenks' show when he had to apologize for the 9/11 comments. When I'm seeing Dan Bongo Balls and fucking Buggy Eye Patel are sitting here on some mainstream media network saying, we've looked at it all, there are no Epstein files, all got released. What am I supposed to believe there? That's like a hard one. Like, I don't know, how am I supposed to make sense of that? So they must have lied at one point, and if they lied at one point, like, fuck, well, when am I supposed to believe them? Especially when it's always, right, they're always taking the politically advantageous position, right? Because that's the easy way to read it all. So how can I think they're in a truth-telling position?
Well, generally speaking, if they're on a podcast and they're talking to the base, maybe not, but if they're under oath, generally we should be able to trust them. So
I would say, okay, so this is where the conspiracy part of my brain would kick in, okay? So I would say, what if they just lie under oath, okay? And then the retort would be, well, are they gonna lie under oath? That would be a crime, they could be in big trouble. And then, Destiny, you said in the past that conspiracies like this involve a lot of moving parts, there would have to be a lot of stuff in order to make something like that work. And then my counter retort would usually be to I would concede the arguments that, yeah, this probably wouldn't work. But I have like so many examples of Donald Trump literally pardoning people who were literally obstructing investigations, who were doing so out of loyalty to him. Like Roger Stone was an example of that. Like every cabinet member that he had, every person that he's had the ability to pardon, he's pardoned. All the Jan Sixers, all of the his past, like Manafort, Stone, Flynn, Bannon.
But if you get into that train of thought that anybody can lie under oath, it can go very well for the Democrats as well. So
What do you mean?
if they can lie under oath, how can we trust anything that they say? How can we trust the January 6th committee that anything that they testified to was accurate at all?
Because when they were, one is because there was a treasure trove of information out there that they released about it, and two, I think when they were conducting all of that stuff, they weren't expecting to get pardoned by Biden.
Well, I don't think they were expecting to get pardoned by Trump either, the January 6ers themselves, so I don't...
Well, like, I could argue that they weren't expecting that. The amount of charity, though, because one, Trump has literally pardoned people around him who committed crimes and obstructed, right? Robertson told another witness not to cooperate. He said he wouldn't squeal on the president, and he was pardoned. And then two, like at rallies in the past, Donald Trump has said, like, yeah, beat that guy up, like, I'll pay for your lawyer, ha ha ha. And then three, like a lot of the people that went through January 6th, Trump was literally there giving them a speech. Like I'm sure that they thought that they were marching for a righteous cause and that Trump would, help them and be there for them. And I think they all acted accordingly. I think that's why they were willing to go as far as they did and why they committed the crazy stuff that they did with the expectation that they would get pardoned. And if I were to say that like all of those pieces were there and then they did do that, and then they did get pardoned, like it seems like a really easy A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like it's like all directly there.
Well, and then you could lay out the same trail then for the January 6th committee. You could say that it was all there to point the finger at Trump, to get him under the gun, and then everyone kind of knew under the table that he was going to pardon him at the end of his term anyways.
Well, I don't think anybody knew that because one, that was an exceptional thing that I don't think has ever done in his history. Two, there are no emails or comments about that ever. None of them ever floated that idea. There were a lot of comments from like Giuliani and Eastman who were literally talking about, can you put me on the pardon list on the way out from the Trump admin because they thought that they were going to get charged with crimes. And then three, it's harder to talk about, this is kind of an unfair thing, I don't know if you're concerned about, but like it's unfair when you talk about Republicans and Democrats, because I think Republicans, like when it's like, well, isn't it like unfair that a lot of them are criminally targeted? It's like, well, yeah, but also a lot of them like were openly and flagrantly violating the law. So like, if I look at like how the J6 committee started, for instance, Pelosi, I think, was the one who was putting it together. Like she invited Republicans to add 5 members to that committee, and 3 of the 5 that I don't think it was Johnson at the time. No, it was I'm trying to remember. McCarthy, was it? 3 of the 5 members that were floated. Pelosi said, well, we can't accept these 3 of 5 because they're directly implicated. I think it was Jim Jordan and a couple of guys. They're directly implicated in all those investigations. But like, we'll take the 2 that you suggested, you can suggest 3 other ones. And then the Republicans said, no, we're not going to participate. So the 2 that they managed to find are now universally hated by Republicans. It was Kinzinger, or whatever you pronounce it, and Cheney, and now they hate them. But like the Republicans chose not to participate, and then now that they've, now in the future they're like, oh well, of course it was rigged. There were no Republicans. Like, well, yeah, you guys chose not to participate. But we can also look through all the J6 stuff. Like, there's like thousands and thousands of pages of deposition. There's tons of video. The official report is 960 pages long, and like none of it is seriously contested. Like people will say like it was biased. It's like, okay, well, what part was wrong? Like there's nothing that was like made up, right? Do you have like when you, I don't know what your position is on it, but like. I know you've probably heard it said a lot that the J6 committee was biased or partisan, but like, is there a single fact that you can think of that like is incorrect that they reported on or they had their committees on, or?
No, not really when it comes to J6. I'm
Sure.
just saying that the whole idea of, well, you can't trust them even if they're under oath, it does swing both ways, and it does lead to a breakdown in us being able to communicate across the aisle.
I agree, but I'm saying that like, I think that when Biden did these pardons, I think it was an exceptional measure for an exceptional time, shown against like a political enemy that was willing to break whatever boundaries, borders they could to go to do political prosecutions of other people. I think that if we were arguing moral high grounds, I would say the Republican Party is in hell when it comes to moral high grounds at this point. But like, if we were arguing moral high grounds, there might have been a gotcha that Republicans could have gotten if Trump could have made it through even 1 fucking year without doing a political prosecution. But as soon as Trump came in, I would argue Biden was fully vindicated because Trump literally starts targeting law firms with executive orders. He starts pulling security clearances and Secret Service personnel for people he doesn't like. He starts pulling, funding from like universities that he doesn't like. And then now we've got officially indictments against Comey for like the most wild, ridiculous, stupid shit ever. And it looks like political prosecutions. And I think actually, I don't think this, I know this. Donald Trump explicitly verbally said, I want to go after all these J6 committee guys, pardon them all. It's like, okay, well, it kind of seems like then maybe that was the play, you know, even though it is a breakdown of norms, but it's not, I wouldn't argue that like Biden was breaking norms. I would argue that Biden was responding to a severe breakdown of norms.
Okay, well, I mean, I can give you that, but kind of got off topic.
It's bad to think that people can lie under oath, but I think that all the Republicans believe right now that they are above the law. I don't think the Democrats necessarily operate in the same way. You can see that with the fact that even during the Senate, the confirmation hearings, I'm sure at least one did, but I don't remember a single confirmed member of the cabinet agreeing that Trump lost the 2020 election. That's crazy.
Did he?
Yeah? I think he did.
Yeah, he's told that,
So
but I've also heard in response to that recently, there's been some talk amongst Democratic talking heads that they're calling into question the 2024 numbers. So it's something that happens on both sides now.
Yep. Yeah, but the difference is that the calling into question of the 2024 numbers is being done by some independent people. I should know this. I talked to the guy actually who's behind one of these. They're doing it. They'll go through the courts on it. They have the ability to do it if they want. I think we should support their ability to do it. But this isn't being led by the Democratic Party. It's not being led by any lawmakers. Kamala and Hillary conceded immediately, right, as soon as they lost. Trump didn't want to concede. He said openly he's never going to concede. He still says that he won that election. And so I would say the behavior is already markedly different. But I would even take it a step further and say, if the Democrats were to put up the exact same fight that the Republicans did, which I don't think they should do, because I think Trump clearly and plainly broke the law in several different ways, the Democrats would even have more justification because Trump, one, did try to steal an election, and then two, there was like behavior of people who were charged and convicted with crimes who were trying to help people get access to voting machines so they should. The most common example, or the most prominent one, would be that Tina Peters lady, I think in Colorado, who led a bunch of the fucking Mike Lindell guy and a bunch of people in to take like photos and take hard drive copies of like some of the voting machines, which never should have happened, but never allowed to happen. So like if Democrats were paranoid about it, they would have a reason to be. Republicans had no reason to. And you know this because when Democrats were, even if you know the behavior, when Democrats saying the election was rigged, now you got some people who are looking at ballot totals or whatever else were saying this. Donald Trump was saying the election was rigged a year before the election.
True.
Well, he doesn't trust mail-in ballots because of Fox News told him not to trust it, so.
I don't agree. I think he doesn't trust them because he knew they were going to favor Democrats because of COVID. He knew the Democrats were more likely to stay home and vote. Because historically, mail-in ballots never really favored one side or the other. If anything, I think the studies at least slightly favor conservatives because more military people tend to do the mail-in ballot thing.
Fred, you still have more time, but I just need to make a quick announcement. Are there any other debaters in the audience that bought a debate ticket who haven't gone up yet? Just checking it out. And that's, is that David? Yeah, okay, David, you'll be up next. Everyone will be going home with a free signed poster tonight and a picture with Destiny if you want one. We will transition to that after we are done with our debaters. But Fred, please continue. Great stuff. Do you have anything
You're
else?
helping me out, thank you.
No, you're good.
Because, I was prepared to focus on immigration and energy exports. In general, you tend to say that Trump didn't really accomplish anything during his first term, and he did manage to up our net petroleum exports to the all-time high and get us towards, not completely, but towards energy independence.
Who got us to energy independence?
Who?
Biden did. Under Biden that happened, right? The exports continued to climb. We became a net exporter of energy under Biden.
Well, the net petroleum exports happened in 2019 under Trump.
Maybe, but I know that for total net energy, I'm pretty sure we were a net energy exporter. I believe it was for the first time under Biden. But our energy exports just continued to increase and increase. Maybe some of that was spurred on by stuff that Trump did, but I guess I know that in general it continued to increase under Biden.
I was under the impression that we were still a crude importer under Biden.
I think we might have to import crude, but there's like a whole refinery process that makes it like usable in other oil products, right? So like we import from Canada and everything too,
But Biden's removed the natural gas pause that Trump has removed the natural gas pause that Biden put in, and so we are now an exporter, one of the major exporters of liquid natural gas thanks to Trump as well, so.
Sure. I would have to be fair, I have to be more familiar with these policies to know, I guess, how I feel about it or why he's, because like, there are some things he did, like there was one for like opening drilling on like federal lands or whatever, but I think that there were like so few like reserves related to this, or it didn't really do anything, he made a big deal about this, but it didn't actually increase the drilling that much. I guess when I look at, the biggest issue that I have when I look at Trump's like energy policy, is it seems like he doesn't have an energy policy. It seems like he has like an old like, I wouldn't say Rockefeller, he likes like oil and coal, like that's his policy. And whatever increases like fossil fuel, he just likes that. And I don't know why you would take a more comprehensive approach to generating energy, unless you literally just have like these weird biases against anything that people call green.
Well, his policies in general can be distilled down to like one word sound bites. That's the way that he operates. And then he relies on the rest of his policymakers to kind of extrapolate what he wants. Because while he has been pushing for more energy independence and more, energy, it's not just coal. He's gone about it through other sectors of the industry as well.
Sure, he's like killed like so much solar and wind related stuff just because he does, and like you can tell that he doesn't have a good reason for it. When he's talking about like the sad dying whales for the wind turbines, and he's talking about solar doesn't work at night. Like I feel like these are unserious arguments, especially after you brag about painting the border fence black. Like why couldn't they cross the border at night if that's how solar panels work? I just think like a very unserious position. Which is my issue with like all the Trump positions, I guess. Is it just there's not like this concentrated effort to really do like a big push in a reasonable way. Like you say, like he relies on his policymakers. I think in Trump 1, I think you could say that. In Trump 2, he just picked a bunch of like, but I would say retarded sycophants who are wholly incapable. Like I think that I feel like if I was Kristi Noem, I would self-report. If I was the Department of Homeland Security Secretary and somebody asked me what habeas corpus was and I didn't know the answer to that, I would bury my head in shame forever. That would be like...
Yeah, but his team of sycophants has been able to accomplish more of what he wants this term.
And if we say what he wants is like the crazy military operation style of deploying National Guard troops over everything else, but in terms of like actual accomplishments that are going to leave America changed after this administration, like policy-wise, basically nothing, right?
Well, I mean, to be fair, like deploying troops on U.S. soil is definitely going to be a big change from the past. So.
Yeah, like he's done like a lot of authoritarian stuff, but he hasn't done like a lot of stuff that's going to leave like a positive, lasting effect. If that was his goal. So like our trade relations with the rest of the world, I think, are going to be hurt after this presidency. They're hurt now. They're going to be hurt for a while. That's going to take a while to earn trust back. Our military alliances, I think, are severely undercut right now.
Well, our military alliances, but because of his pushing, spending in NATO is up across the board.
Yeah, because he hates them.
Yeah, he hates them because they weren't paying their fair share.
Yeah, but the fact that you just are willing to say he hated our NATO allies, again, that goes to my point.
Okay, figuratively speaking, I don't think he actually hated them, but he took a look at the numbers, and we were paying the most. They weren't upholding their agreements, and he's got them to up their...
Yeah, but that sounds like a progressive talking about taxes. Billionaires don't pay enough. Like, they're just mad. They don't sound like they want to make the country better. They just want some of these taxes of punishment.
Yeah.
If Trump was saying something along the lines of, like, I want to do XYZ mission, or I wish that our allies contributed more so that we were a more cohesive unit or whatever, that's fine. But all he does is he shits on NATO constantly and he brags about making people pay more money into it, like it's a big fuck you to everybody. Like that's the approach, right?
Well, the big difference is, progressives would do that too if they could, but Trump has a big red button that allows them to push it and get instant gratification, so of course he's going to push the button.
Yes. Well, why would we support something like that as president? You're describing a retard.
It's working for him in a
It's working
way.
for him. It's like a good reality TV show host, but like I don't think it's working for us in the country.
It depends on the metrics that you're going for, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you're looking to watch reality TV.
That's all American politics is right now.
Yeah, that's right. You're like reality TV right now, right? Like I feel like Biden conducted himself in a manner more consistent with the decorum we would expect the president of the United States to conduct himself with than Trump has in the past and is currently doing.
I would tend to agree with you on that one, but the fact of the matter is Biden had the tools in his kit to accomplish a lot of things that Trump is doing right now, and he just didn't do it. Border crossings are down, as I've said, those numbers are true, they're hard facts, and they were done through executive order. So that border bill didn't need to be passed at all.
Well, I mean, one, the EO is going to be challenged, and I think it is being challenged right now. I don't know what the case is on that. And then two, we didn't get like all the increased funding and everything else for the arbitration judges to actually chew through all of the asylum seekers here that were caught and released to like actually decrease those numbers. Like those people are still going to be floating around for however long it takes to process them, because I don't think we ever increased the funding for the asylum judges or anything.
Yeah, but we're not getting flooded with new people into the
I
system,
understand that.
so.
25 million though, it's a lot.
Any final thoughts there, Fred?
I guess I just like Biden dealt with a lot in his administration, and I think he accomplished a lot. Right? We had the whole Ukraine-Russia war opened. We were coming off of all the crazy COVID stuff. We had the whole Israel-Palestine stuff, like explode. Like all of that stuff was going on internationally, and then we still had to rebuild in the United States, which we largely did. And then like inflation and the illegal immigration, everything was coming down at the end of his term. For Donald Trump, the illegal immigration was increasing. It was starting to go back up. It was higher in like the last 2 quarters or something than it was ever under Obama. But then COVID hit and everything shut down. So he was lucky there. He had saved those immigration numbers there a lot. So yeah, I just feel like if these are problems that we actually cared about. Like, would you be happy? I guess it's not a question, I'll give you the last response. Like, if we got through these 4 years and all Donald Trump has done is executive orders and march the military around, and there's no legislation and no permanent solutions, or at least long-term solutions to any of the problems we have, would you consider that to be like a success or more successful than Kamala would have been?
No, absolutely not. I think that's the first step, and he needs to basically take the rest of American policy more seriously in order to become a good president. But immigration is a deeply personal issue to me and my family, and he has made real gains in it, although I have to take a look at what he says realistically as well.
Sure.
But holistically, if we were to examine his entire presidency, he has to turn some things around, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, everyone, please put your hands together for Fred.